If you have found this video, then you most likely have a sketch or a piece of art that you think would look cool drawn or painted on a piece of furniture, your wall, your car, or any other surface, and maybe you don't know where to begin, or possibly you don't have any experience drawing or painting anything. Well, you're in luck because it just so happens to be Arts and Crafts Day here at Como Music Creation. The idea for this video spawned when this hunk of shungite, or possibly obsidian, honestly I'm not sure what this is, I can't remember. Maybe you in the comments know. Anyways, that poorly perched rock fell onto my Fender Precision bass guitar and left a series of divots and scrapes in its wake. Some people would call this relicking or road wear, but honestly I just think it looks bad, so I want to cover it up. It's natural to feel anxious about mucking up your personal possessions with a failed attempt at making them more visually interesting. So today I'm going to do my best to steer you in the right direction towards making your stuff more unique to your personal style, as opposed to having it all end up in the trash and leaving you hesitant to ever try anything like this ever again. Over the years, I've taped, drawn, painted, and have covered guitars in modeling clay, so my experience has given me the confidence to sketch out an idea freehand on the guitar itself with a soft artist chalk pencil. However, if it were my first time doing this, then I wouldn't be so confident. So we'll come back to my precision bass in a moment, but let's suppose that I wanted to take a section of this sort of surreal, mundane dreamscape painting and transfer it to my other bass, a Fender jazz bass. We're going to start by laying out the tools and the supplies that we'll need. A camera, a soft tape measure, painter's tape, tracing paper, a fine, soft tip illustration pen, a computer or tablet, but the larger the monitor the better, a woodless graphite stick or pencil, a retractable pencil, or preferably a spudger, a piece of poster board, a decent pair of scissors and razor blade, but not for the little ones, Windex, a soft artist chalk pencil, or a piece of chalk like I mentioned earlier, gesso, which is a primer used in art to prepare surfaces for painting, acrylic paints, a few brushes sized to the job at hand, paper plates, paper towels, and last but not least, a few cups of water. To begin, I'll take a photo of the subject for my painting and then transfer it to my computer. The next step is important to get right because it will allow me to scale my subject by size to my workspace. I'm using the soft tape measure to match the contours of the area that I think would make a good canvas on my guitar. Then I'll open up the photo on my computer and zoom in or out in order to match the height and width. I don't need Photoshop or another fancy application, I'm just using Preview on my Mac. However, a program that allows you to skew or distort your image may lead to even more creative results. This next step is something that I've grown completely comfortable with. However, by all means, spend the money on a drawing tablet if you feel like this is a bad idea. I'm going to take my tracing paper and use the painter's tape to hold it in place on my display. Then with the soft tip illustration pen, I just trace the general outline of my subject. And when I'm finished, I can remove the tracing paper without issue. Like I said, do this at your own discretion, but in my defense, I will say that I've been doing this kind of thing on this same display for about 5 years, and I still don't have any dead pixels or any kind of scrapes or residue. I hope the video is helping you out so far, and if it is, the best thing that you can do to say thanks would be to leave a comment, like, and subscribe to Como Music Creation. It is more difficult now than it has ever been to get a YouTube channel going, so all of that stuff helps me out tremendously. Thank you very much, and let's get back to the video. Next, I am coating the back of the paper with the woodless graphite pencil, making sure that I fill in all of the right spots. Now I get out my poster board, secure the tracing paper on top of it with the tape, and next I'm reaching for what's called a spudger, and I use this to follow all of the lines made by the illustration pen. Spudgers are just sort of these plastic pencil-like things with no lead, and they're commonly used in electronics repair. I'm using it in this situation because a pen or a pencil would obviously leave behind its mark. Maybe I want to use this outline again, so using the spudger will leave nothing behind. So now that I have my basic outline transferred to the poster board, it's time to cut it out. A good pair of scissors is important, but an X-Acto knife or razor blade like I have here is also usually necessary. Also, one of those little rotary cutters from Walmart or Amazon could also be handy, depending on the angles that you need to make on your cuts. Now I have a nice rigid version of this drawing on the poster board, with a decent edge to follow with my chalk pencil. However, first I'm going to use the Windex to clean my surface. Windex is good to prepare a lot of different surfaces, because if you go over it a few times with a couple of paper towels, then it really doesn't leave anything behind. I don't need to sand down my guitar or anything like that. I know that permanence isn't going to be a problem. This Stratocaster, for example, has had this sort of adolescent blue wave on it for around 15 years now, and it's seen its share of the road. Now I can take my chalk and finally transfer this outline to my guitar. Depending on your surface, you can use a marker, a pen, or even another pencil, but this soft chalk is working good on my guitar. Next up, I can either continue to cut out the individual letters or other details from my poster board and transfer those, or I could go back to the tracing paper and make new templates of each individual detail or letter if I don't want to ruin my little template here. Up until now, this has all been hypothetical because I'm obviously not going to paint over my mint condition jazz bass here. So let's go back to the precision bass and continue. So I've got my outline finished. Now I'm just going to fill it in with the gesso, wait for about a half an hour for it to dry, and next I'm ready to paint. So this next step is pretty much all up to you. It just takes some practice and getting used to. However, here are some pointers that you might find useful. You'll most likely want to work from the outside in or the back to the front, if you will. For example, I'm going to start with this black kind of drop shadow as my first step. Then I'm going to paint the primary color of the circle surrounding the star, and then I'll paint the primary color of the star itself. Next, if I want to blend in a little depth, then I'll do that with the darker yellow, or I'd wait for the base layer to dry and then sort of dust on some darker yellow with what's called a dry brush technique. This is where you dip your brush into the color you want and then remove a lot of the paint by running it along a paper towel or something, and then apply it to your canvas or workspace. This is useful in shading or adding color depth. However, I'm not really going to do that today. I'm kind of thinking this design just wants to remain a little punk rock, I guess. I don't know. So after stepping away for a while and at least attempting to objectively judge my work, I think that this guitar came up pretty good. However, I'm curious about what you think. Beyond whether or not you like my work, it's kind of irrelevant, but maybe I at least gave you an idea for a project of your own. Then I'd love to read about it in the comments. Better yet, maybe you have some links to your own work. I'd really love to see those as well. Anyways, now it's time to get this bass into the shop to have some fretwork done, because in the coming months I'm recording a lot of rock music, and the P-Bass is great for that. If you're curious about what the rest of my channel has to offer, then I encourage you to stick around, or at least give this video a thumbs up, a comment, and maybe subscribe to my channel if you like it. Also, feel free to reach out with any music-related inquiries to comoproductions.com. I really hope you make some great work on your own, and I'll see you next time.